There we go. Now I've let the obligatory 10 seconds or so go by before broadcasting so that it doesn't cut off anything that I'm saying here at the beginning. Welcome, folks. If you're watching this from the beginning of the video, I am Nathan P. Butler. This is the, for lack of a better name, Battlefront Livestream podcast. I probably should just make that the subtitle, for lack of a better name. I, of course, am the host, along with Mark Herleman of Star Wars Beyond the Films over at StarWarsReport.com. I am one of the panelists, one of the regulars for the Star Wars Report's Rebels Roundtable, for now, over at StarWarsReport.com. I am also the creator-compiler of the Star Wars Timeline Gold at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline, the most comprehensive Star Wars chronology available anywhere. And then, of course, there's also StarWarsFanWorks.com itself, where various fan audio projects are hosted that I've been involved with over the years. This is Battlefront Livestream Podcast number 8, and no guest this time. There's actually just kind of two things that I wanted to point out as we went, and just kind of get a little bit into that. The spoiler warning is present here for The Force Awakens, because on the off chance we have folks jumping into the chat, asking questions about The Force Awakens, I do want to be able to give some unvarnished opinions, so bear in mind, spoiler warning down there at the bottom. If you are watching this with the title also says spoiler warning on it, so hopefully we won't have anybody freaking out. A little bit brighter today. Apparently the PlayStation camera is compensating for the fact that I'm in a relatively dark room, actually, with the window open a little bit over here, as the cat jumps up behind me here. So, a few things to point out as we go. One of the things that I've brought up in the past is wanting to make sure that I get the things done that I want to get done within the game. And I made quite a bit of progress just in the last, week or two. Well, come on, let's connect to EA, because we ain't going to be able to do jack until you actually connect to fucking EA. You can do it. You can do it. Are you fucking kidding me? How's that for a good start to the stream? There we go. Of course, I can't see any of the friends up there yet, but whatever. I want to show you here one of the things that I'm trying to do. There's that base command app that I've talked about before on the Battlefront app. So you got your Battlefront app, and you can go to Career and go and check out your star cards, and it'll have a list here of all the star cards that you do or don't have. You can go to Collection and scroll down through all the different star cards. It's hard to see here because of the way that the light is correcting here. But if you go way down at the bottom, all of a sudden it's not star cards. Notice here it's little circles with like the faces of the heroes and such. If I click on Han Solo, it'll tell me for Battlefront, hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid. And it tells me that he has rapid fire, lucky shot, and shoulder charge. But I can click next to that where it says base command, and it says Han Solo, hero. If Han Solo wins in combat, I'll sit down, replenish all discard points and draw Millennium Falcon from the discard pile. Unlock criteria, though, to be able to play with Han Solo in the base command game built into the app. Play as Han Solo 20 times in Battlefront. And it's got a little progress, man, you really can't see that. A little yellow progress, there you go, you can kind of see. A little yellow progress bar that shows that I've played with Han 17 times out of the required 20 to unlock him. I've played with Leia 11 times out of the required 20. But everything else pretty much has been unlocked for base command. So that is my next step, playing some more Heroes versus Villains to be able to get Han Solo unlocked, to be able to get Leia Organa unlocked for base command. So I'll play a round or two here. And then I wanted to show you something that was kind of interesting lately. If we look at the stats, I've jumped quite a bit since the last time that the live stream went on. I'm now ranked 45, and that's a huge jump. I was at about probably 18 or so, 18 or 19, and then we had the first of those double points weekends. That made a big jump. And then there was another double points thing on Christmas Day and the day after, and that was a big jump. And what I've tried to do is kind of keep that progression going. I want to get to a point where I don't have to worry about leveling up anymore. It's just a matter of getting the credits to unlock or upgrade star cards. If you look at the collection now here, I am at the point where all of the weapons are unlocked. In fact, the DL44 got unlocked because of the Deluxe Edition. And in the Star cards, all the cards are unlocked. I have taken the time, basically at this point, to upgrade the Jump Pack and to upgrade... Oh, must be up at the top. The Ion Torpedo, but that's it. My current hands... I've been trying to figure out what I want to use as my main hands. I've got the Jump Pack upgraded, Scan Pulse here, and Homing Shot. And then if I'm playing Walker Assault, whenever the time comes as the Rebels to attack the Walker, I've got the Ion Torpedo, Ion Grenade, and Ion Shot. My trait right now is Sharpshooter. I'm not actually a big fan of Sharpshooter. I kind of prefer the other ones. But one of the other things in the collection, of course, is the diorama. And I've been looking through to see whether or not I'm actually going to hammer away at all the diorama stuff. And I think the answer is going to eventually wind up being no, basically. I keep looking at the little square of me up in the corner, which is on the top right-hand side for you all. I keep looking up at the corner, instead of looking at the camera, looking straight at the screen. So diorama-wise, some of the stuff's unlocked, some is not. This is the one right here that probably has me saying I'm probably not going to give a crap about unlocking all the diorama stuff, or at least not in the near future. Because it requires you to win 10 matches in each of the original Battlefront multiplayer modes. Basically everything except Turning Point. At this point, the one that was introduced with the Jakku DLC, the free DLC. Thing about it is, if you look at that, it's 90, so it's all 9 of the original modes, one of which is Hero Hunt. The only way to win a Hero Hunt match is to kill the hero, or villain, become that character, or the next one, and kill as that character. Your kills only count when you're doing it that way. The kills do not count if you're talking about actually killing the hero. So, very difficult, I think, to get to a point where I've won 10 matches of that. I might try that in the future, but for right now, not so much. If you want to keep track of how many wins you have in each category, that's what you need the companion app for. But this is what I'm working on actually right now for the Shadow Trooper here. Reach level 3 at least once in every trait in multiplayer. That's why I have Sharpshooter. I've gone through, and mainly in Drop Zone, been able to get my trait based on number of consecutive kills without dying to jump up to level 2 and then to level 3 with each of the different trait cards of the other 4. Now Sharpshooter was the last one that I purchased, equipped, and now I'm working on that, but it hasn't been a major priority. Slowly working on Princess Leia, reaching rank 50. I'm 5 away. Haven't touched any of the battle missions on Master difficulty. I've found some of the collectibles are pretty easy to find, especially if you get the guide. You can't do it, by the way, if you're doing a battle and you do it as a hero battle. Apparently the collectibles don't show up. You have to do that when you're doing just a regular soldier version of a battle. We have Darth Vader defeat 250 soldiers while playing as a hero. That'll just kind of come slowly with time. 250 headshot kills, again, slowly with time. All survival missions on Master. Haven't tried that yet. Every star on every mission. That's going to be kind of a pain in the butt, but I might. Again, that's that co-op or individual thing. Kills an Imperial soldier will eventually happen. Boba Fett is now unlocked. TIE Fighter is now unlocked. Slave 1. I'm about an hour and 20 minutes away thanks to a whole lot of playing Fighter Squadron, of finally unlocking that for riding vehicles for a total of 10 hours. Easiest to do that in Fighter Squadron. That's the one based on getting a 3-star item in the first base command, rank 10, million score. Total kills as a rebel soldier, easy enough, and then those two are also unlocked. So if it weren't for that whole 10 wins of every mode, which includes Hero Hunt, I'd be aiming for the entire diorama. I don't know if I will eventually do that or not. Probably someday, but it's not a priority right now. Right now, the priorities as far as anything goes tends to be focused on playing as Han, playing as Leia, and getting Sharpshooter up to trait level 3 in any one given match so that I can hopefully turn around and use those things in base command and whatnot. Let's just do a quick mode. I've been talking just a little much here, so let's jump into something. I'm going to just... Screw it, I'll just jump into Drop Zone, whatever. Actually, no, I take it back. What's my challenge right now? Kills with the TIE Fighter, destroy 25 vehicles, 25 targeting rifle kills. Oh, I'm sure you've seen me play missions way too much. We'll just do a quick heroes versus villains. Okay, jumping in on the Rebel side, which is good. It is kind of interesting, kind of cool. Hey, Ben? And let me know if you'd rather me call you Benjamin instead of Ben. I know you were on an earlier stream. one thing that I've run into is I'm kind of torn. I like the fact that it does switch you between Rebel Imperial in terms of giving it a sense of balance. It doesn't have, you know, someone just choosing one side and sticking with it, and then maybe if the game goes one direction, it leaves it unbalanced. I'm a little bit concerned, though. I do also like the fact that it sort of gives you a chance to sort of have a, for lack of a better term, a bit of a chance for a rematch or to see who's really the best by doing it in pairs. So like you'll be playing as the Rebels, and you'll be on, I don't know, go as in Badlands twice in a row. Once as Rebel, once as Imperial. Hey guys, Matthew, Edward, Happy New Year. Also, happy birthday to my dad. His birthday's on December 31st. I called a little bit earlier. Oh, that is some serious lag. He is ice skating. That's probably not a good thing. What the fuck? All right, whatever. Hello, Hippo. But at the same time, that it is kind of good that it gives you a chance to have sort of that let's see who's really the best on this map, and it does keep us from necessarily focusing on one faction or another. You do have the other flip side, which is the fact that, well, you might have a challenge or a goal of, hey, play as Han or play as Leia, or get X number of kills with a TIE fighter. Oh, happy birthday, Ben. The problem being that if you're playing, well, I've already played it as Luke enough times. The problem is, let's say you're trying to get 25 kills or 15 kills with a TIE fighter, which is what one of my challenges is right now. That means that if you're playing Fighter Squadron, every other match is going to do you absolutely no good towards that goal. So the only way to, you asshole, the only way to actually, hey Liam, the only way to actually get that going consistently is to constantly go in and out of matches, and only actually enter matches where when you see the roster on that initial screen, you're showing up as the side that you need. Which kind of sucks. Boba Fett, air! Oh, come on, yep. Wussy. Why you run, bruh? Why you be running? I'm curious why not, Liam. It says you can't play Battlefront now, as in just can't at the moment so you're watching, or can't as in there for whatever reason unable to access. Alright, so let's see here. Matthew asks, for those who aren't following over on the side, whether Rian Johnson, that's the director for Episode 8, will add more prequel things into Episode 8. You know, honestly, I don't know. I feel like, and why was, it didn't seem like he was swinging much. It seems to me that that Disney is trying to stay at least a little bit away from the prequels. I guess because we were so saturated with it for so long with the Clone Wars. But I would hope so. I mean, I would hope that they remember that this is a saga that is multi-generational. And while it makes the most sense to reference back to the original trilogy because it's the most recent generation as of the sequels, that, you know, kind of makes sense on bringing them in as well. It kind of makes sense on bringing the prequels in. There we go. When did the stream start? About, as in this particular stream, about 13 minutes ago. Liam, new update. You talking about new update on PC? Because I haven't had any crashing issues on PS4, but then again, I haven't really paid that much attention to their most recent updates. And Gaming Hippo, it's Darth_Soul, though at the moment, because of trying to get into certain things and kind of stopping playing at times to show you certain things, I will probably not be bringing anybody into the individual party. But if you wind up in the same game and you want to partner up, that is fine by me. Let's see, press to join. Heroes versus villains again. Not so much. Wow, these are interesting. Liam, is that a system update or is that an update to Battlefront? I know I've had, even with a wired connection where I got my, you probably can't see it, I got my router box sitting next to me so that I actually have a wire that will actually reach the system. I am still finding that I'm getting these slow connection warnings pretty frequently. Even, yeah, trying to do too many things at once. Even while I was in the process of of hoping that would make it better. Now, you notice here I just pulled out of Hero vs. Villains. I'm trying to jump back into Heroes vs. Villains. Why? I need to play as Han. I need to play as Leia to unlock stuff. Playing as the Imperial side does me absolutely no good. Now, Rebels? So yeah, now I'll join. That's the one asinine side of the whole issue. At least to me, of the whole issue of the changing sides. One of the things I did want to point out, though, here... There are a couple of things. One is to kind of make a note as we go along, if I wind up switching modes here in just a few minutes, to take a look at the different stormtroopers. One of the big complaints that people had about the Imperial side in this game was they were looking at this and basically said, well, if I look at the Imperial, I can customize, but all I'm doing is customizing the head. It looks like there's no difference with the stormtroopers. Well, one, that's really all you're doing for the Rebels also, except for the handful of times you can become an alien. And with the stormtroopers, at least for now, they're still sticking with this idea of stormtroopers, hence not having a bunch of alien stormtroopers running around. But, I mean, it's not like you're customizing the body of other characters, of your other Rebel characters. The bodies of the Rebels, the bodies of the Imperials, the design of the Stormtrooper armor is changing between maps. The biggest thing is that for the Stormtroopers, it's just not as obvious because in a lot of cases the armor looks very similar.
They got the last one.
They got the last one. Doggone it. So, and Liam, I don't know, Liam, is yours digital or was yours disc-based? And it just installed off the disc. Not that I know how to troubleshoot this, I'm just kind of curious what the situation was. Yes, there you go. Ben is referring to what I call the Stover effect here. He says that he's almost done reading the Revenge of the Sith novelization. It's definitely coloring how one looks at the film. That's why I named it the Stover effect, because on the podcast and everything over the years, because it felt to me as though because I read the novelization, or actually listened to the novelization of Revenge of the Sith prior to seeing it in the theater, I got a lot more out of seeing it seemed like, than a lot of the people I went to see it with, and then those I discussed it with afterwards. It's what helped make that my favorite Star Wars film for a while. And to me, it shows the strength of what a novelization can do, but it also shows the weakness of filmmaking sometimes, where you shouldn't need to read a novel to truly appreciate a film.
They just defeated one of our heroes.
Yeah, okay. Notice here I am using that T-21B now. I found that I am much better as long-range, almost sniping support. And it helps me to get the, to get the trait levels up, than I am just running straight into battle and winding up right in front of someone, getting myself killed. There we go. Okay, scratching my Vader. Yeah. Alright, Rebels won, whatever. Okay. Didn't get a chance to wind up playing as Leia or Han again, because that match was already in progress. Still trying to get those up. But I'll jump to one of these and let's see if we can see the difference in some of these stormtroopers. As I was mentioning, I'll just jump to a different type of match. But one of the things that helped me, even when they weren't doing the double points, but especially when they were doing the double points, was that I have a PlayStation Vita. My wife and I don't get a chance to spend a whole lot of time together. So when we're just kind of lounging around and getting a chance to hang out, a lot of times what we'll wind up doing is we'll sit back and we'll just watch Criminal Minds or something on Netflix or something on Apple TV. And what I found was that she really doesn't mind if I am, because she'll be messing on her tablet or on her phone or something. She really doesn't care if I'm playing a game so much as she'd rather it be while we're doing something else together, like watching something together. So I'll have the Netflix running on my Xbox that's attached to the Xbox One that's attached here, but then I'll turn around, I don't even care, but then I will turn around and break out my Vita and use the remote play feature. And the remote play feature, if you're not familiar with it, it basically allows you to stream the game that you're playing from the PS4 to the Vita to be able to play whatever's going on. Unfortunately, you can't take screenshots, or I would take a screenshot, and you can't do a broadcast like this while you're doing the remote play. Otherwise, I would literally remote play it and show you what's going on here. But I want to give you a comparison momentarily, I guess, once this match is done. I want to give you a sense of how the controls differ in case you do think about trying to do this, or you have been contemplating getting a Vita as they are dropping in price at a lot of stores because Sony really isn't supporting the system anymore. At least as first-party games and whatnot. Now, you notice here, I'm going to switch. As much as I worked hard to get that Scout Trooper, part of the point here is I want to show you what I was meaning by the differences in Stormtroopers. So you notice here, we're on Sullust. So the Stormtrooper on Sullust is going to have the black pauldron kind of thing going on, and he's got the breather apparatus because it's a volcanic-type region. I find that those who complain that there's not enough diversity within the Stormtroopers a lot of times aren't paying attention to the slight variations in the armor from the neck down, and tend to be playing with just the regular head showing. So you don't see the variations in the helmets, which is unfortunate. Whoop. As old school X-Wing fan back in the day, but I haven't played it in a very, 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 very long time. Alright, so we're jumping in here, and again, from the back you can barely see it, but like if I do one of my emotes, you can see the breathing apparatus on the guy here. Go! I did actually, speaking of remote play, one of the things that's going to take a while for me to unlock is one of the things that you can get from, oh sweet, ATSD, that you can get from, for base command is you take down 10 AT-ATs in Walker Assault with a T-47 airspeeder by doing the whole tow cable thing. And if you manage to pull that off 10 times, it unlocks something else that you can use to upgrade your speeders while you're playing base command. So I've done that twice. The first time a couple days ago while playing on the PS4, and actually last night, my last thing before I shut down for the night was to pull off a T-47 tow cable takedown, actually on this map, I believe it was, of an AT-AT, move! With remote play going on. You think it's difficult to actually keep that stupid little speeder within the range to bring it down when you're playing with an actual PS4 controller, DualShock 4, try doing that with the Vita controller. It is a bitch and a half. But I was able to pull it off, and I was amazed that I did so. It was definitely a situation where Obi-Wan was wrong. In my experience, damn right there's such a thing as luck. Because that certainly was not skill. I do need to do the thing. There's a, I want to say it's a trophy where you kill X number of guys by walking on them with an ATST, which I haven't managed to pull off yet. Yeah, Liam, I am with you there. I'm actually, I was huge into Destiny for a long time. I don't think I've really picked it up, except for Sparrow Racing, in probably at least about a month. And I'm to the point where I kind of feel as though I'm probably going to be giving up on Destiny. I spent way too much time. It's way too much of a time sink to do it, and I've got other things I want to work on. Like, yesterday, I basically treated my Star Wars Timeline Gold as if it was a job. My wife went to work, and for 9 straight hours, I was working on the Star Wars Timeline Gold. I got tons of comics finally summarized and added to it that have come out recently, and some shorter items. And I spent 3 hours straight just getting through the first half of summarizing and adding events for Battlefront Twilight Company. That's just a very dense story in terms of having a whole lot of smaller details in it. It didn't kill him! What the f... You ruined my haha moment, you prick. I should probably be actually playing the objective and trying to stop them at their, whatchamacallits. But I'm doing that jerking thing. I can tell that my connection is still not all that solid, despite the fact that I'm on the wired internet connection this time, which is unfortunately. Honestly, Star Wars Timeline Gold editing will be extremely boring if I tried to stream it, because it's literally just kind of me sitting there working on it. Although, if you want to follow it, if you go on, I believe it's facebook.com/SW Timeline Gold, or on Twitter, but it doesn't allow for as big of posts, SW Fanworks. When I am working on the timeline, I'll tend to post things that I find interesting. I'll tend to post pictures, like I posted a picture of Battlefront Twilight Company, the book, while it was sitting there with all of my post-it notes in it for different events that I needed to add, aside from the regular summary, and just sort of gives people a sense of how the work process works. How it goes. And yeah, we're definitely going to lose this one. What the? Oh. I was like, are you being choked or are you dancing? Come on. Get back to the action here. The good news, I guess, is if you do decide to do a Vita type remote play, which again I'll show you how the controls differ once this match is over with. The good news, yeah, vehicle turret, that doesn't do so good here. It's great for Rebels. The cool thing about it is that headsets that use the plug in the PS4 controller do work on the Vita. So for instance, in that case, I could plug this sucker in to be able to do it. Original X-Wing or Resistance X-Wing. I kind of like the Resistance X-Wing. I like the scissor wing thing, though we didn't really get to see nearly enough of them. I'm curious, what I'm curious about isn't either of those, actually, because you got the T-65, which is the one from the original trilogy. You've got the T-70, which is the one that we see being used by the Resistance in Episode 7. But in the, I think it's the Incredible Cross-Sections book, and in, gosh, what is it? In Before the Awakening, we find out that what the Republic's using is actually, I believe it's called a T-80 X-Wing. It's either a T-80 or a T-85. So there is a more advanced version of the X-Wing out there than either of the ones that we've seen on film within Story Group canon. So I want to know what that X-Wing is like. I want to see those in action. And I imagine it would be kind of like seeing the X-Wing fighting alongside a Z-95 Headhunter, sort of that generational difference in terms of the strength of the ship itself. I'd like to see more vessels. I think in this case we didn't, because this wasn't really a showcase for that sort of thing. It was more of the character piece to introduce the individual characters so they can be ready for what's coming later. And that was my cat just sneezing all over himself. Awesome! Yeah, and you're gonna have to clean that by licking it, aren't you? That's fucking disgusting! Single man fighters and assault ships like this. I mean, I want to see more of really any of that kind of stuff, but I don't want to see it at the expense of story. I think that one of the big criticisms of the prequels that tends to be valid, and not all the criticisms of the prequels are, is the fact that when you look at, for instance, some of the battle sequences, like the Battle of Kashyyyk, there is so little time in the Battle of Kashyyyk that focuses on any individual moments of individual characters up against each other. Or of the effect that it's having on Yoda, or an individual trooper, or to see Luminara in there, because Luminara does show up at one point in it's like a long shot or something. I feel as though it became a showcase for CGI, and as such, every battle had to become a showcase for a new type of separatist droid weapon or a new type of Republic technology. And while that's cool to see in the battle sequences, that shouldn't be the focus. I mean, it shouldn't be da-da-da-da, CGI. It should be more like da-da-da-da, character moments, and oh, by the way, here's all this cool technology in the background that is serving the story, which had some issues. And yes, Jared, you're right. It is Incom Free Tech. Free Tech is now part of the production of the new X-Wings, whereas Free Tech, of course, was the E-Wing company, basically, that broke away from Incom back in the Legends continuity. So they brought Free Tech over as a technological manufacturer. They build shit. Technological manufacturing. What does that mean? We build shit. Yes, I also would like to see more Poe as well. What games did I want? Actually, what I tend to do is I'll tend to go just pre-order games that I'm looking for, so it makes it very difficult actually on my wife when she's like, well, what would you like to get? You know, you want me to get you a game? You want me to get Star Wars something? Except usually I've already pre-ordered, I've already got whatever it is. So in this case, Star Wars-wise, the main thing and that I hadn't bought, that I'd even forgotten that I mentioned ages ago, was a couple of books that I can grab here and show you in just a second. Again, once this match is done. From a company called Put Me in the... Oh, shit! From a company called... I'll save you guys! Anybody alive in there? Anybody? Oh, damn. I'm sorry. But they're from Put Me in the Story called Darth Vader's Battle Plans is one of them, or Battle Plans from Darth Vader. And there's another one that's name I am having trouble remembering right now. Give me the hero. I wasted an imploder so I could grab the hero thing, and then I wound up getting killed before I could grab it and use it anyway. Slick. Real slick. I will never gain the Slick Willie moniker that Bill Clinton had. You know, I did not have sexual relation with that woman. Well, I actually did, but you won't hold me accountable for it because, well, it's just sex, and it's just lying about it. It's just lying under oath, and perjury ain't nothing but a G thing. The hell? Yeah, I probably shouldn't be getting into that whole thing. I can't wait for Hillary to run, if only so that Lolita Island can become part of the discussion. Yeah, damn those interfering rebels. Friggin' Luke. Of course, it helps that I'm also not paying all that much attention. In fact, because I'm saying that, let me grab those books here. They're on a shelf in the other room. You won't hear me for a split second. I'm coming, Beanie! There we go. Here I come to save the day. Oh, and the cat is sitting on the Vita. Nope, not the Vita, my phone. Either way, the cat should probably not be sitting on something like that. Because, you know, I don't know how recently he's cleaned his. But, yeah, the books are... There's this one. It's called Force Inside, or The Force Inside. And there's the Jedi side. You flip it over, it's a Sith side. And this is basically like a questionnaire type thing to see if you're able to be a rebel operative, or to see if you're able to be a Jedi even. But what you do is you submit, it's called Put Me in the Story. Whoever gets it for you, or you yourself, will submit pictures. My wife submitted a picture from our wedding, and let them know your name and oftentimes the address, and it works into here, like, destiny awaits you, Nathan. There is no turning back, Nathan, and that sort of thing. And this sort of acts as the let's see, you know, let's see whether you are light or dark side. The other one is this one, which is called Battle Plans from Darth Vader, or Nathan's Battle Plans from Darth Vader in this case, which is really kind of weird. It's another one where you submit your name and you submit your information. So she submitted an old picture of mine. But it's weird because there's a message at the beginning from Jun Sato, the rebel leader that we meet, of course, in Rebels, that basically says, yeah, so we intercepted this information. It was coming to you from Darth Vader that's basically profiles of the different Rebels characters, although some of their ages are incorrect. And we hope you'll join us instead of sticking with Vader. And then the opening message from Vader as part of that transmission that was intercepted basically says, if you want to prove yourself and join me, then you're going to have to, you know, learn how to do, basically, excuse me, and to prove yourself by learning the dark side and going after these rebels. So there were those. Game-wise, the only two that I think I had really thought about picking up that I hadn't yet at that... Wow, that was good. Hadn't picked up yet at that point was that I had not picked up Halo 5 Guardians for the Xbox One, nor had I picked up Rise of the Tomb Raider for Xbox One. Rise of the Tomb Raider did not pick up, but it was just kind of an afterthought when I even thought about the fact that, oh yeah, I haven't played that one yet. But my wife did pick up Halo 5 Guardians for me, which I haven't even started. It's sort of next on my list. Once I knock out, I still have a couple things on my PS3 in the other room that I need to finish to clear out some hard drive space. And yeah, I do agree that most of the time, I guess it depends on the time of day, but in this case, I noticed especially on the weekend, a lot of times weekend early afternoon, finding an objective-based map where people are actually playing the objective is pretty difficult. Not that I'm doing a great job of playing the objective now. I wonder if I can, like, get in front of this guy and let him be the one that gets hit. And Luke just keeps killing me. The son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi, or he will constantly whoop your little foot soldiers. But don't worry, because much like Rey and Finn in The Force Awakens, apparently being angry when you're using the Force is no longer an immediate path to the dark side. Because Rey sure was pissed initially in that that latter duel. I don't think people give Rey people give Rey way too much credit. Like, she had so many skills, man. She had lightsaber dueling skills at the end. Not really. Not until she opened herself up with the Force. She was usually taking the saber and, like, swinging it. She's, like, stabbing at him with it instead of actually using it in the way that one would expect one to use a lightsaber. Okay, so we lose. Big shock. Walker Assault. It's funny, the balance has flipped, right? Walker Assault back in the beta, because people didn't really know how to take down the walkers, because a lot of people didn't know how to use the T-47s. It was extremely imbalanced towards the Empire. The Empire would win almost every match. Now it's the opposite. Now here we are where it's extremely rare, I find, on Endor, on Hoth, and sometimes on Jakku, to see the Empire win. I will say I see the Empire win more often on Sullust than anywhere else, but still it's pretty rare. Now it usually is the Rebels winning, now that people understand the use of ion cannons and whatnot. Generating conflict. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so let me jump out of here. Let me show you guys what I was talking about with the remote play thing. So, standard PS4 controller, DualShock 4. On this controller, if you're not familiar with it, because I know some are playing on PC and Xbox here, you've got basically your two triggers here. You got R1, and R1 is going to activate your right hand of the three different cards. L1, that's the top trigger here, is going to activate the leftmost of your cards. To activate the middle card, it's holding down the triangle button, which is the top of the face buttons. You have your two triggers, okay? L2, okay, is going to be the one that zooms in to aim down sights. R2 is the one that actually fires, whether you're aiming down sights or not. Okay? You check out your sticks. Your sticks, of course, can be clicked downwards, so that is your R3 or L3 and R3 buttons. L3 is the one that you click down to be able to run. R3 is the one that you click down to melee attack and smack somebody in the face, like if they're using a shield or something. And of course, the sticks are going to handle your movement and looking, essentially. Your D-pad is your emotes and your perspective. So left and right and up are your three emotes. Down, if you hold it down, is what switches between third person and first person. Clicking it once, when you're in third person, switches which shoulder it is that you're looking over. Otherwise, face buttons, X is jump. Square is going to be the one that's basically your, for lack of a better term, like your reload button. The one that takes care if you overheat your weapon. And circle is going to be your crouch versus standing up. Triangle I already mentioned. Start is just start, pause, whatever. Share button is the one that does the broadcasting, so that has nothing to do with this. And I believe, and I hardly ever use it, but I believe that if you click down on the touchpad here, that's what brings up your scoreboard in the middle of a match. So that's your standard control layout, and it works pretty well. Not so much when you're doing remote play. The way that remote play works is there's an app on here called PS4 Link. You pull up PS4 Link, you click on it, it connects to your PS4 either through your network or directly to the PS4 itself. And it'll give you the option of second screen or second screen or remote play. Second screen is like if you have a companion app that you're using with something. Almost no PS4 games actually use second screen. Remote play, though, lets you basically stream whatever's happening on your PS4 onto here, and you're playing on the Vita with the Vita controls. It's just that the game isn't based on the Vita. The game is actually processing and running on the PS4. Control-wise, though, the layout is different. Okay, there's only two shoulder buttons, L and R. The sticks are here, but the two analog sticks do not click downwards. So rather than an L1, L2, L3, there's just L. And the same thing for the other side with R. You do have the same face buttons. They're just smaller: triangle, square, circle, and cross. It's called cross, not X, but people say it either way. You do have a D-pad over here. This is a touch screen, and the back has a touch-sensitive area. You're supposed to technically, I guess, hold it like this so that you're not constantly touching. I tend to hold it like this, and it screws me up every time. Okay? So if you were to play on Vita, what's going to happen is your face buttons are essentially the same. Triangle is still going to activate your charged star card. Circle is still going to be the one that crouches. Square is still going to be if you overheat your weapon. X is still going to be jump. Your sticks are still going to be looking around and moving respectively. PS button, start button over here, select button, kind of same old things. Your D-pad, this has slightly changed. Up, down, or say up, left, and right are still emotes. However, because you can't click down the left stick to run, run is holding down on the D-pad. So you're basically doing this sort of thing. You're running, but you're trying to sort of put the pressure on the bottom part of your thumb so that the top of your thumb is holding down on the D-pad. It's really kind of a pain in the ass. But that replaces it. So what happens to the thing that changes your perspective? This corner of the screen, that touchpad, takes care of that. So if I tap it, or if I hold it down here for a second, it'll switch perspectives. If I'm in third person, I just go click or tap, it'll switch which shoulder I'm looking from. Okay. Other side. Usually this stick, clicking it down, is going to give you melee. You can't do that. It doesn't click. They've moved melee attack to touching this corner of the screen. If you touch the center of the screen, that's what brings up your scoreboard. Basically the equivalent of hitting the touchpad on the controller itself. Okay. Now, these two act as your aim down sights and pull the trigger there. Basically L2 and R2 from the regular PS4 controller, which means the shoulder buttons that activate your two regular star cards or clicking both to activate whatever power-up you've picked up don't exist on there. That's where the trouble is. Because if you're holding it, you tap here on the back. The back is essentially treated as if it is two separate touchpads split down the middle. There's this side split down the middle, with the camera kind of being where your dividing point is. If I touch over here, it activates the R1 star card. If I touch over here, the L1 star card. If I want to use my power-up that I picked up, I have to tap both at the same time. And I find that it's really, really difficult, quite frankly. Because the tendency for me is I don't hold it like this. It makes my hands cramp. I try to hold it usually like this, but just barely moving my fingers here or touching it are going to cause things to work. Like I'll be running around and playing, and for no apparent reason, I'll launch into the air with my rocket pack because, oh yeah, my finger accidentally touched back here. Or I'll be trying to switch over and use my homing shot, which for me is R1 most of the time, but I'll be constantly switching back and forth without meaning to between homing shot and regular blaster because of touching here. You cannot customize those controls, at least from the standpoint of how the Vita's controls work. You can customize on the game itself, but the Vita layout is built into the way that the Livestream works, or the remote play works. Literally, if you click the PS button and you bring up a thing that has button guide on it, you click the button guide, you have no options, but it does give you a layout of how that works. So can you play on Vita for remote play? Absolutely you can. Does it work? Yeah, kind of. But don't expect to do very well with it. Aiming is a little bit more difficult. Aiming, especially if you're playing fighter squadrons, is extremely difficult on the Vita. But it can be done. Like I said, my second Walker takedown was last night with an 8 to take it out with a airspeeder, and I did it while using the Vita's controls, which was a bitch. So it is worthwhile, especially if you're not able to actually be playing on the system itself. For me, what I wind up doing is this goes back to the progression system on this game. There will be times where I'll just sign into a game, play a little, and when I die, just let it sit for a little bit before I pick it up and keep going again. Especially if it's something that has a game score, an automatic game score like Blast or Walker Assault of 2,000 points. I know it's kind of a shitty thing to do, but this game, as I said before, it feels like the progression is right on target when it's on a double points weekend. When it's not a double points weekend, the progression feels insanely slow, as if they're trying to drag out your value in this game because it doesn't have enough content in it. So To me, that's one of the few ways to actually pull it off. It means not getting in people's way, but a lot of times not contributing as much as I probably should be to a match. It's even more of a pain in the butt when you look at what the rankings do. As you get up right around rank 45 where I am, to get to rank 45 and now to get from 45 to 46, it requires 70,000 points to be able to do that. When you're not on a double points weekend, that is a real pain in the ass. The struggle is real, so to speak. All right, so all that being said, I want to give you a chance to at least see how that works so that hopefully if you have a Vita and you haven't tried it, you might. Or if you find a Vita on sale, you might give it a shot. There are some really good Vita games out there, but a lot of them are ports from something else. Like, for instance, I would say that Killzone Mercenary, which you could be just playing Killzone Shadowfall on 4, but Killzone Mercenary is fantastic. The Uncharted game on it is terrific. And they've got some really good ports of things like, you know, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and whatnot. But it's really not a system that's going to be wowing you with all of its games so much as, you know, being able to actually use it on something like this is helpful. All right, so that being said, let's see if we can see another of those variants of stormtroopers that I mentioned. We'll try Drop Zone. Don't really care. I'm on the Imperial side. That's good, that's good, that's good. And we are on Endor. What is that? Is that Peanut? Is that Jeff Dunham's Peanut? That's good, that's good, that's good, good. Same guy that has Ahmed the Dead Terrorist. You know, the silence, I kill you guy, maybe. Drop pods are crashing down on the planet.
Excuse me, this is not a planet. This is a forest moon. What? Why you guys look at me like I'm stupid?
Now, I will say that on the forest moon of Endor, your stormtrooper is just a standard stormtrooper. There's no special variant of any kind, like with the mask, with the breather on Sullust. So in that case, that is one downside of it. A separate model. Jared, the SF TIE Fighter is going to be a separate model in what? Yes, Uncharted Golden Abyss. Yeah, when I got the Vita, I got Uncharted Golden Abyss. That was actually probably the system seller for me. Killzone came a little while later. And Uncharted has been a bit of a seller. Anyway, my brother-in-law he's a gamer, but he's more of a sports gamer. He never really played a lot of first-person or third-person shooters. And we just bought him for Christmas a PS4 that came with the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. And once he got a hang of the two sticks, which my wife still hates, the dual analog sticks, he absolutely loved it. So, yeah, Uncharted is a great gateway drug, so to speak, into any new Sony system. In the X-Wing Minis game, yeah, I would imagine we'll see the Special Forces TIE Fighter in the mini game at some point. We'll probably actually also see Poe's Black X-Wing as a separate one, if only...
Oh, fuck off.
If only as a repaint in something like that Imperial Veterans dual pack that they now have going, or Imperial Aces, Rebel Aces pack, where it's basically just that. Unless they want to put out something like, kind of like what they did with the Imperial Assault Carrier recently from Rebels, where it came with the variant color of a TIE Fighter, or the Rebel Transport came with a variant of an X-Wing. If you are curious, folks, about the X-Wing Miniatures game, or Imperial Assault, or Armada, or any of the other stuff coming out for Fantasy Flight games, like the LCG or the 3 role-playing games, I do brief content reviews of all the different products that they put out, with the exception of the stupid stuff that I wouldn't actually use, here on the channel. So all the ships, all the RPG books, all the other miniatures and whatnot, but not something usually like card sleeves, or the little new plastic things you can put your maneuver dials in for X-Wing. I don't see a point of those, so I haven't spent the money on them, which means they're not showing up in the feed. But every single miniature that is released, every single RPG book for Fantasy Flight games, every single release of new material for the LCG, you will find reviews of it eventually on the feed. The downside is that sometimes they do a release like recently, where in the span of 3 weeks, love that targeting rifle, they released like 4 new RPG books for their different lines, all within the span of about a 2 to 3 week period. So now I'm playing catch up, trying to get through them for the Star Wars Timeline Gold, and until I do that and remove all my post-it notes, I can't record a a video review of them. So those get a little bit delayed when they do some kind of bigger... I really ought to play the objective again. When they do some kind of bigger release like that, just because it's just harder to get through everything. Oh! Alright, I'm still planning to do special edition release comparison video. Actually, probably not, just because the sheer amount of time that it's going to take to do that. And there are also some really good ones that are already online. So for the moment, I'm kind of putting that aside. My next big intention, video-wise, is I would like to go back and redo, or do like a version 2.0 of my, you probably have seen it, the From the Star Wars Home Video Library video timeline, that right now is on version 1.2, that has basically just a quick year-to-year look at the evolution of Star Wars films on home video. I would like to do a version 2.0 soon that includes the TV show releases, so Ewoks, Droids, Ewok telemovies, Rebels, Clone Wars micro series, have those all included in there. But that means essentially re-recording the entire thing, whereas for the updates for 1.1 and 1.2, all it was me just re-recording maybe 1 or 2 years in their little blocks and editing it back into the file that I have saved in Movie Maker. And yes, I do use regular Microsoft Movie Maker, which is why the sound is sometimes poor, because you can't really play too much with the sound in Movie Maker. You can emphasize sound versus video when it's processing, but you can't actually do a lot to change the envelope, so to speak, or to change the volume. Man, I suck when I'm talking. As if I don't suck when I'm not. Alright. And for those who haven't caught the earlier feeds and whatnot and were wondering, like, hey, I've got some Christmas cash that I'd like to spend here. These those are the limited edition Turtle Beach Sand Trooper headphones that were designed and released specifically for Battlefront shortly before Battlefront came out. So if you are looking for something like that, these are a pretty good set. I've heard good things about the X-Wing set too. These are about twice the price. They are the limited edition though, so if that means anything to you, then pick those up. These were actually a birthday gift from my wife. My birthday's in October, Christmas in December, so they get kind of clumped together. Yeah, I haven't gotten to Keepers of the Peace yet. Keepers of the Peace is coming soon. There you go. Yeah, I have yet to purchase a CED player or a Laserdisc player or a Betamax player myself. I intend to at some point when I think about it, when the money's there, but I also am thinking about it. But I find that, see you, Liam, the main thing that I plan on doing with those is digitizing them once I get them. So part of me wants to really wait a little bit and make absolutely certain that the plugs that I have to do digitizing of the VHS will actually work with those 3 player types. Although I really want to be able to plug in and watch the bonus features on the Definitive Collection from 1993 on Laserdisc, the one that was the basis for the 1995 THX remastered editions, because that's one of the few releases that I've never got to see the bonus material from, because except for the How Walkers Walk, or whatever it's called, I don't think they've ever re-released the bonus features from that one, even on that digital release through iTunes and such. My feet got stuck in the ground again, which sucks. Yeah, I haven't actually thought about getting a Super 8 projector, just because I know that Super 8, those aren't the actual full films. But yeah, that's the next step, I guess, for me if I'm going to collect further, because I have all the Laserdiscs now, I have all the VHS, the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the Betamax, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like I'm at a stopping point when it comes to collecting, unless I start collecting more behind-the-scenes stuff, or parodies, or delve back into Super 8, because the only Super 8s I have are, I got 2 of them. I got one of the A New Hope ones, when they were doing the larger reels, and I've got one of the smaller reels that was the very, very first one, the black and white, no sound, 8-minute Super 8. Yeah, that's a good idea too, the cleaning the system before using it, so I guess I'd have to look for one of those too. good call. That's why actually I did the digitizing at all initially, was I wanted to make sure that if I was going to be watching the VHS versions, for instance, of the very first release from 1982, I don't want to destroy the tape by accident if the machine decides to grab it and rip it up, as VHS players are wont to do. So I kind of held my breath and played through it one time to digitize it, rewound it, holding my breath again, and then just stopped, done. And anytime I want to watch those, I'll just watch my digitized version. I'm not even going to attempt to actually play them in a VHS player anymore. And somehow I'm still 5th out of 8, even though I was sucking and talking. So that's a guy who is probably sitting on his butt doing what I do sometimes with remote play. That guy that had 0 kills, 11 deaths. Because that's usually the way that winds up working out. Very nice. Next thing I think I want to get is the, there's those old things, I don't even know what you call them, the little film reel things where you plug the cartridge in and you're to be able to watch it. Alright, so, yeah, one last, we'll just do a quick run through, just jumping into some matches and right back out so I can show you what I was talking about with the different types of stormtrooper armor. That will wrap up things here for us, because I do want to finish at least that point that I was attempting to make. I don't even care. Make sure I'm Imperial, though, and tell me where I am. I'm Imperial. Where am I? Hoth. Okay, that's another one we can see real easily. By the way, you may have noticed, for those who have commented before, I've changed the way my Rebel's face looks. He does still have the helmet off, but instead of being the bald guy with the beard, it's now the shaggy hair old guy with the beard, because I figured I might as well make him look like how I'm going to look in a few years. Nice and like, what, Sonny? There's an Imperial over there? Psh, oh, shit. Sorry, honey. There you go. Of course. So when you're on Hoth, a standard stormtrooper is going to be a snowtrooper. So that is an obvious variant that for some reason people were saying that that was the only variant. Oh, the only kind of stormtrooper you can have is that. No. You got the one with the mask, or the one with the breathing filter when you're on Sullust. And that leave us with what? Tatooine and Jakku? We can't go back to Jakku! I love how nobody can seem to say Jakku consistently the same way in the movie. Is it Jakku or Jakku? Don't really care, as long as I'm Imperial, so I can see. Nope. Heck, I could do Fighter Squadron on any of those and still be able to show you on the character select screen. Except, again, I must show up as an Imperial to do it. Hello, Mr. Rakesh. We're actually almost... There we go, Jakku. So this works. I gotta go get my droid. He's orange and white, one of a kind. Had he not said orange and white for no apparent reason when describing BB-8, dude would have had no idea what he was looking for, would not have recognized BB-8. Instead, he would have been just staring at a droid, and all of a sudden, she comes to whoop his ass with a stick. Just saying. We will, by the way, very soon, Rebels Roundtable should have our reactions to... no, not yet. Have the reactions to the Force Awakens episode up in the very near future. And if you haven't been following, I will be leaving Republic... Did I say Republic Force Radio Network? Yeah, that was the other show we did. I will be leaving the Star Wars Reports Rebels Roundtable as a regular team member of the panel at the end of the year, or at the end of Season 2. More than likely, I will try to stick around doing maybe some pre-recorded segments, like a Continuity Corner type segments and whatnot, and maybe pop in as a guest from time to time, kind of like Brock does. But just from a time standpoint, I'm not going to be able to be a continuing like regular. There you go. There's your Stormtrooper on Jakku. Get more of a Sand Trooper type thing with the orange pauldron, matching, of course, the headphones here. And I believe it's the exact same kind of armor on Tatooine, but we'll try to pop in on Tatooine here. Be cool if these were animated, those scenes too. Oh, what's going to send me to Tatooine? One of my most hated modes right here, cargo. Man, cargo just drives me insane. Not a lot of people playing the objectives on cargo. Are we on tech? Nope. And of course I can't go back from it. So yeah, so I'm assuming, I believe that the same, or Han and Han, the same sand trooper outfit is the one that you're wearing on Jakku, as is the one that you're wearing on Tatooine. So I do like the fact that there is that level of variance, and of course for the Rebels, your gear color changes. It's more white when you're on Hoth. When you're on Sullust, it's more of that sort of darker color with a little bit of orange to it. You've got the more camouflage type color when you're on Endor, and when you're on Jakku or you're on Tatooine, it's more of the tan color. So it isn't that there isn't a variation in the neck down until you get to, you know, the Scout Trooper or something. It's simply the fact that, well, what we're dealing with is customization of the head, and then the customizing or the changing based on environment for the rest of the body is determined not by you as the player, it's determined by the environment. So we've talked Vita Remote Play. Those were the two main things that I wanted to point out. I am going to head here probably. So again, my thanks to those who have taken the time to watch the stream. I will be doing another stream sometime in the future. I have no idea when. It'll probably be sometime between now and, I'd say probably now and the 4th, give or take, depending on time. Right now, I am going to sign out, though, to spend another several hours, probably, trying to get the rest of Battlefront Twilight Company summarized and its individual events listed for the Star Wars Timeline Gold. Here's where we stand right now. About halfway through, still a whole bunch of post-its there on the top that are individual date notations for things like people's ages that need a birth notation and things like that on the Star Wars Timeline Gold. So, yeah, I've got a lot of work ahead of me on that. But again, thank you for watching. You can check out the full stream on YouTube, youtube.com/user/chronoradio if you've missed any of it previously. And we will pop up again with this probably sometime in the next few days. And sometime in the near future, probably once I hit level 50 on here, I will start doing some live streaming of material from Disney Infinity 3.0 as well. And unfortunately, yep, we are at the end. But thanks for popping in, Lego Fan. Again, you can check it out on YouTube. And I'll be doing another stream in the next few days. As always, if you follow the Star Wars Timeline Gold or Star Wars Beyond the Films on Facebook, anytime I am about to stream, I will make a post saying that I'm about to stream with a link to the YouTube channel so that you can jump on there if you want to. But my guess would be, if it's going to be, what is today? Today is Thursday. If it's going to be tomorrow, we're probably talking sometime between noon and 7 Eastern. If it's going to wind up being on the weekend, you're probably looking at sometime a little before noon up to about noon, give or take. My wife works very early those days, goes in at about 5:30, but I'm sure as heck not getting up that early and doing a stream. But I'll probably get up sometime, 7, 8-ish, and then once I get some things settled around here, I may hop on there. So, but again, keeping an eye on Facebook is probably the easiest way to know when I'm going to stream, as I would bet Jared probably did, because Jared's one of our frequent posters over there on the Facebook pages. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to try out the Vita and let me know what you think in the comments on the YouTube version of the video. I think it works well enough as remote play, but it is kind of a trickier beast. I much prefer DualShock 4 for me. Thanks a lot, folks.